Hello guys, it truly is over. Ever since the year 2021, I've mentioned the existence of a lost alpha build of Prison Life version 2.0 called PLSAVE. It was a place unprivated during 2019 and privated around May 2020 along with many other test places around the time Aesthetical posted these tweets. But at February 20th, PLSAVE was unprivated once again. This may sound all awesome, but unfortunately, Aesthetical unprivated it by unethical means that I was not involved in. Since talking about it would take too long, I've made another video that should release at the same time this video did. It should be in the description of this video. I will also mention in that video, Aesthetical actually talked to me. Now with that aside, I need to describe the background of PLSAVE first. We need to address the March 2019 update. So basically, Aesthetical edited PLSAVE to remake the scrapped Prison Life lake that used to be in the valley of the map. I made a video on a early Prison Life build containing this lake. He also for some reason deleted this building, as you can see from a smartphone recording of PLSAVE, which I made a video on. He would then post a screenshot of the scrapped lake on Twitter only minutes apart from the last PLSAVE update. I personally saw this tweet around when it released. Since it was deleted and essentially lost for a long time, I mentioned this screenshot in my channel and Prison Life Lost Content Discord server and even remade it. Also, a user in the Prison Life wiki named HeatlyBros has claimed to have played PLSAVE around 2020 with many claims. These claims would later on be confirmed true as I explore PLSAVE. One final thing to mention is my personal experience with PLSAVE. I was a hyped Prison Life fan since 2016 who waited for a new update. Aesthetical's inventory was unprivated, so I explored there. I clicked on each and every single game to see if it was playable or not, and yes, I have no life. PLSAVE was one of these games. It was really amazing as it looked incredibly different from current Prison Life. The camera would be here in the team selection screen, and the camera would also be in this position with the sign here, along with the drastically different main menu. Then when you join a team, you would spawn in the gas station for a millisecond, and then proceed back to the main menu. Now with that out of the way, let us explore this mysterious build of Prison Life. Upon loading, you spawn in the neutral team block on the yard. You might be wondering, what about the main menu and stuff? Well, for some reason, it doesn't appear. Perhaps the camera and GUI broke, or Aesthetical removed the functionality when the game updated. The smartphone recording of PLSAVE did prove the existence of the main menu GUI, as you can see on the left. Since PLSAVE was unprivated, people immediately flocked to save instance the game. Someone by the name of Blacksy the Cola Drinker sent me a screenshot of the main menu GUI, which finally solves that mystery. I was even sent a screenshot of the PLSAVE menu GUI with the camera, which is very cool as this screen is exactly what I saw when I played this game back in the days. As you can notice, I misremembered this sign being a brick counter. In reality it was just a GUI, and this sign was basically nothing special. I was also sent a screenshot of the team selection, which shows a GUI just like in the WhiteFT screenshots of PLSAVE. The camera is even placed at this position, which I very well remembered. I believe this camera appeared either during team select or in the first 5 seconds of joining, and it seems to be team select after all. Now finally moving on from those GUIs, we can see this all different yard. It looks just the same from the smartphone recording. You can find a dummy of Aesthetical with a goofy little name, and these telephone stations. Nearby, there is a multitude of guns in the version 0.6 gun system. The old SWAT gun called the M16 appears in this game. The scrapped M249 also appears, which is expected, but still cool find. There's a gun called M16 New, which I assume was supposed to be the M4A1, but it's clear it is unfinished. Also here's a Remington 870 for no reason. There's a early version of the crude knife, usually known as the shank in this game. There's even a stab animation for it. The good old version 0.6 guitar also appears. We can also see in the corner the tables which are barely unaltered from the final game. At the edge of the yard, there is a row of many types of blocks. This comes from a building kit Aesthetical uses in many of his test places. One final thing about the yard is this semi-invisible light. Honestly no idea what this was for. Here is what the right side of the prison looks like. There is an obvious ground inconsistency here. Now we are finally going to talk about the coal mine. The coal mine was brought by HeatlyBros on Discord as well as in his long prison life wiki message about playing PLSAVE when I interviewed him and asked if this model of the mine shaft conveyor was in the coal mine. He claimed it wasn't there, although it definitely is. This is the only thing he got wrong in the interview, likely misremembering like how I did with the brick counter and sign. Other than that, this coal mine is extremely cool. This mine shaft conveyor moves you to the top. We can see a rack of pickaxes with a white tooltip. This spot directly comes from a WhiteFT screenshot of PLSAVE. The design of the pickaxes themselves appears in a test game called Aesthetical's Place number 81. You cannot do anything with the pickaxe, but if you went deeper in the mine, you're able to mine the coal with a unique animation. If you keep your pickaxe selected, you can place your mined coal on the mine shaft conveyor. Unfortunately, in the March 2019 PLSAVE update, where Aesthetical remade the lake, he also for literally no reason decided to delete the coal mines building, and due to that, the coal really will just travel to the floor. Aesthetical still kept these large bins of coal, though. Also, a user from the Lost Content Discord server called Water Guy Willie discovered that there is GUI to place coal on these bins if you carried a pickaxe. There are of course more ground inconsistencies in this area. We will now explore the inside of the prison. The first thing to talk about are these whiteboards. These whiteboards serve the purpose of listing jobs. If you are an inmate, there would be a description, wage, and even a company name, Prison Industries. These GUIs only appear if you are an inmate. Inside the kitchen, all the furniture is the exact same, but organized differently. Both vent hoods do not have a hole where you can escape unlike modern prison life. There is a blank room behind the kitchen. I don't know what was the purpose of it. You can see a door design here that looks cool. The layout of the tables are pretty identical to current prison lives, although the trash cans are separated. There is a staff-only room, in which inside seems to be a janitor's room. It has a mop and many cleaning materials, including duct tape, which I did not notice at all until during editing this video. This is a cool area to include. The last thing about the cafeteria is that there's also a working version 0.6 vending machine. Let's go to the staff-only hall. It remains identical to the early discovered prison life build with windows and all. Passing the unchanged metal detectors from the early discovered build, there is an access-like area here where other rooms are. The first thing you can notice is a model of Aesthetical with the name, the player 123. This area is directly from the WhiteFT screenshot. The cell room has many similarities with the early discovered build cell room. First of all, there are stairs in the side to enter the second floor of cells. There is this weird hole here for some reason. The cell doors are also a different color and have nothing inside. Unlike in the early discovered build, there is no glass on top of the rails. Aesthetical probably realized it was inconvenient to go up and back from the stairs over and over instead of just jumping out. The last thing about the cell room is the presence of tables that would stay in current prison life, unlike in the early discovered build. Moving on to the other room, there is a vent on the floor. That is a really cool touch. This is the shower room. You can toggle on the water, which is cool that it still works. There is nothing special in this room at all, though. We will now explore the front building of the prison. First of all, let's explore the security room. We can find computers here, a solo one on the left, and the barely unchanged surveillance cameras on the right. The cameras still work, although they are rotated upside down. In the other room beside the security room is this room, where inmates would talk to visitors in a real prison. This room has barely changed compared to the early prison life build, which had a different floor and table. Now moving on past the other door in the security room, there is this sort of break room. It remains pretty similar to the early discovered build, but with the addition of a couch. Over on the armory room, I cannot enter past these gates, which either don't work, or it's because I'm not a guard. But looking at the room with the camera, there's nothing really important, staying about the same as the early discovered build. Now we will enter the entrance area of the prison. First of all, the front desk. The room hasn't changed much besides the color of the windows being changed to blue and of course the different floor. Now, we are finally at the iconic front entrance. The surprising part is that it has remained barely changed compared to the early discovered build, which has everything from these white couches and neat glass tables to plants and wooden tables. The differences besides the floor is the window color changing to blue, the removal of these two walls, which only covered these two doors, and aesthetical replacing the glass tables with wooden ones, in which I ask why the glass tables looked infinitely cooler. Now, let's explore the outside entrance. Let's first appreciate this glass design. I saw this with my own eyes back in 2019 when this game was originally open. But when PLSAVE was privated and the lake screenshot was deleted, the only remnant left of this entrance was this tweet by Aesthetical barely showing it. It is honestly a surreal experience. The front entrance appears unchanged to the early discovered build. Now further outside we can see these early car spawners. They visually are similar to the old prison life car spawners. It spawns a car that actually looks like modern prison lifes, although it does not work. There is also another car next to it with different wheels. It is pretty similar to modern prison life's cars, but also doesn't work. The garage is very similar and structurally the same as the modern garage, but with less color. There is nothing inside. PLSAVE has these very weird tree designs with a flat top that you will see throughout the map later. At the check-in part of the prison, the small building appears very different and weird compared to the current prison life's version. The best I can describe it as is a thicker building with black colored windows and a goofy button placement. The fence and gate is similar to current prison life's version, but with different barbed wire and the removal of these metal crosses on the gate. Let's talk about the two small buildings on the right side of the prison. The first building has nothing inside of it, but the second building has much to unravel. Aside from the metal detectors and invisible block, there is a whiteboard that would display the jobs. The cool part is that this job in specific still functions. You click on the saw that would cut a blue block in half. On the next machine, clicking on it would put random numbers and letters on the block. Sometimes it would create a golden block with the phrase "honk for Jesus" on it. That is essentially it for functionality. It is a pretty cool feature from this game. I forgot to mention the inmates team. I do not know a method to become a guard or citizen without exploiting. You can become an inmate by touching the orange pad on the yard. Once you reset, you forever spawn in an inmate cell, which is closed, which means you can't get out. The only way that the person who made this screenshot, AJCool64, was able to get out of the cell was using a glitch known as the laugh clip. If you want to know how to do that, I've linked a video in the description, made by Alex Kaboom. As an inmate, you finally have access to the UI, which is a carbon copy of the UI found in Aesthetical's place number 81. The schedule is the same as the one from the early found build. The crafting feature appears here, which if you didn't know, you would find materials around the prison and you can use them to craft items. This feature was scrapped, and the only thing that stayed was the crude knife. The interesting part is that there is a unseen crafting item called a tide weight. The menu is largely similar to the current, with the vote kick feature we've seen time and time again from my videos, and the useless Game Pass button. The last thing about this prison is the roof. You see, in Axis Void's Twitter video, he used two aesthetical guards to get on the roof and used a aesthetical dummy to go here, where many items were shown. I was able to do this as well by jumping from two fellow players in the same spot. By going to the same area I can see all of these items up close. These are all crafting materials in one spot. Some have tooltips. These are super cool as most of these models were never shown, except in the images aesthetical created. After 15.5 minutes into the video, I will now finally talk about the outside of the prison. The first thing to mention is that the invisible boundary around the map was originally moved closer compared to current prison life. There is blocky trees all around the map. If you didn't know, these early trees appeared in pretty much every early screenshot of Prison Life version 2.0. They appear in the exact same positions in the early discovered build. They are also funnily floating in the air. The weird tree designs with a flat top are all around the map in this version. Two very different tree designs in the same map always appeared odd to me. If you haven't already noticed, there are also trees in the mountains. This is no big surprise of a discovery, as the PLSAVE smartphone recording briefly showed these trees. They also appear in the background of this guard decal aesthetical created. Let's start exploring some buildings. There is only one apartment, and it's placed on the spot where the small house is. The house in general is completely unchanged. On the further side of the road is the small house. This exactly copies a PLSAVE screenshot. Nothing also really changes here either, except for the weird block on the top. The roads in general are of course the same in the screenshot and early discovered build. If you didn't notice, the roads are different compared to the current one in current prison life. You can also notice that the apartments are moved up between both versions. The apartments aside from that has not changed at all compared to current prison life. In the office buildings, there used to be a singular ladder here that allowed you to quickly get to the higher tower in the early discovered build. It seems that by PLSAVE aesthetical decided to alter that. The offices have not really changed besides the color of the top part of both offices. The rest of the city hasn't really changed in an important way at all, which shows how preserved this part of the map is. The spot I'm standing in is where I remembered spawning after joining a team in PLSAVE. Now to branch onto the cars. There is a car spawner here with a tooltip. For some reason, in the server I recorded in, the car spawners did not work at all. I went and recorded again, and it worked. In the prison, you could spawn police cars with the version 0.6 car system. They automatically play the sirens, which is interesting. This car is buggy, and is obviously unfinished. In the car spawn from earlier, it would spawn in the scrap truck. It has not changed at all since in the early discovered build. If you didn't see the video of me exploring the early discovered build, there's 4 seats inside the truck. Use the version 0.6 car system, and was slow. I also found out that the roof of the check-in building has no collision on. We have already talked about this supposed brick counter sign earlier in the video, but I think a bit more should be mentioned. First of all, the sign was on the other side of the road in the early discovered build with the top part not being tilted, and for some reason there's a white line on this road that was quietly removed. This sign was never anything special aside from appearing in the title screen, for honestly zero reason. Now time to go to the biggest part of the outside prison, the scrapped lake. You need to keep in mind aesthetical recreated this lake for that 1 billion visits anniversary tweet. The real scrapped lake can be found in the early discovered build. If you haven't watched that video, this lake isn't a real lake made from the Roblox water system. There is a cut off at the end where it was unfinished. In PLSAVE, the lake can be seen. It uses a water system, so you can swim in it this time. Felipe has his claim about the buildings being underneath the water is 100% confirmed here. There is even a floating guard NPC here. The Armory Plus and Lakeside grocery stores do not have their name in this version, compared to current prison life. There is also only 1 garbage container beside the building, while in current prison life there is 3. The buildings have not changed at all inside. Even the shooting range part is completely unchanged. The last thing about the lake is the ramp, which you can see has shifted down. There is also a lack of trees. The whole reason is likely because Aesthetical had to delete the trees and lower the ramp for the purpose of the lake screenshot. Remember that this March screenshot of PLSAVE has all the trees on the valley along with the ramp in its proper form. It still blows my mind Aesthetical didn't just use the early discovered build or literally anything else. Before we move on to the criminal base, I should show you the funny boundaries at this part of the map. Aesthetical did not finish this part of the grass, so you are able to see the bottom of the map. You can see the lake Aesthetical recreated here. Aesthetical still at this point hasn't finished making the stone boundaries at the edge of this map. The inconsistencies continue behind the prison. The grass for some reason is a different color, with a tiny plate of another block of grass sticking out. Now, for the last part of the video, I will talk about the criminal base. In reality, the criminal base has remained unchanged here compared to the early discovered build, so here is a recap. If you haven't watched it, you were originally able to go to all 3 warehouses, which are all duplicates of each other, which may be a little disappointing. There are no criminal spawns to be found, and the car spawner spawns in trucks. This is currently one of the longest videos I have ever edited. PLSAVE was such a huge thing in our lost content Discord server that it was honestly the main reason I started it. It is honestly such a shame that the method used to unprivated was bad. If you want to learn more about it and the message Aesthetical sent to me, you should watch the video linked in the description. That should come out at the same exact time this video releases. Anyways, thank you for watching and happy 10 years of prison life.